EU Reporter speaks with UKIP MEP Ray Finch concerning his plans for the new parliamentary term and his hopes for UKIP's performance in next year's UK general election. A new term in the European Parliament, lots of challenges for all the party, but probably particularly for UKIP. How are you feeling as you settle in?
Well, it's interesting, particularly on my committee. I'm on the Fisheries Committee. It's interesting to see how it's stitched up. The EPP and the S&D always do everything together. You would think, considering they're supposedly centre-right and centre-left, that they'd have things opposed to each other, but they have so much in common. Frankly, it ends up ourselves and the Greens are the only real opposition you find.
Are you finding that good teamwork's going on then already? Is that what you're saying?
I'm finding that it's a stitch-up. When the vice-chairmanships of the committees were handed out, that's the only time that nobody's used the hunt system on anything on committees. And it was done specifically to exclude the EFDD.
You've got a very important by-election coming up in the next 3 weeks. What are your thoughts on that? It's looking like it's going to be a runaway success for UKIP. You are on the verge of coming into the House of Commons. Exciting times?
Very exciting. Now, I've been over to Clacton recently. I was there last weekend. And the buzz on the ground is very, very good. What we're finding is it's not just people are voting for UKIP, and particularly voting for Douglas Carswell, who is a very good local MP. They have no other choice. When we're knocking on doors, we're finding people saying, well, I'm not voting for any of the other lot, so I'm going to give you a chance, which is really exciting. And it's an example of how politics, not just in the UK, but throughout Europe has become. It's homogenised. There is no choice, essentially, except when you have UKIP.
You seem like a sensible, down-to-earth man to me, but you could see, I'm sure, that UKIP has, in its relatively recent past, attracted the, for want of a better word, the fruitcake vote. Do you think that's receding as well? Are you at pains to ensure that these kind of people who say that perhaps floods were caused by gays, things like that, is that becoming a thing of the past for UKIP?
Well, what's happened is that when you look at those people, they've come to us recently from other political parties, and nothing was said about their views when they were in those parties. But when it's UKIP, it's all jumped upon. We don't hate anybody. We don't even dislike anybody. All we want is for everyone to live their own lives. Occasionally, some of these people will see one of our policies that we've thought through in a libertarian way, and they will think that it suits their anti-human agenda. And soon enough, they find out they're wrong. So, it's a learning process.
I believe you've been in the news yourself, perhaps in a reasonably unwelcome fashion recently, Ray, concerning the fact, shall we say, for want of a better word, nepotism going on in the ranks of UKIP. I mean, we all know that Nigel Farage's wife works for you. She was quoted as saying that she used to stay up in her nightie and work for Nigel. Does she do the same thing for you?
I wouldn't have the foggiest. What I have is I'm very lucky to have someone who worked for a leading MEP for many years to work for me part-time while I guide myself through this, because there are pitfalls when you start a new job. And Kirsten is one of the people who is so good at negotiating these issues. She's done it for Nigel for many, many years. And I was lucky enough to be the beneficiary of the change in EU regulations, so I'm very happy with it. It's not nepotism. I've taken the chance of getting a very, very good employee.
So you think it's reasonable that Nigel, obviously no longer able to employ his own wife, simply moved it over to, one of his employees? Do you find that reasonable?
Nigel didn't move it over. No, I asked Kirsten. Of my own volition, Kirsten was very happy because she sees that she can do a job for someone who is brand new to this Parliament, brand new to the job, and she has so much experience that she's helping me. I'm lucky, the taxpayers are lucky that we're getting Kirsten very, very cheaply indeed for her knowledge and talent.
Okay, finally, Ray, many commentators have suggested that UKIP does represent, basically has been representative of the rise of the far right that is taking place in across Europe. Do you not find that a worrying thing to be associated with?
Well, we're not far right. In fact, there is no such thing anymore in European politics, particularly as left and right. Either you're statist or you're libertarian. All the other parties are statist, we're libertarian. These far-right people that you're talking about, what you're talking about is statists who have a racist agenda. we are as far apart from those people as possible. Because people lump us in with it, it's to suit their own agenda, and it's to paint us as something we are patently not.